Imagiverse Studios presents Tales from the Horrorweb, an audio-only series based on the short stories by Gavin Pryor.
Tonight's episode is called Hide and Seek. An innocent little game of hide and seek goes horribly wrong when a teenage girl plays somewhere where they should not be.
Margaret was passing through the trees, trying to find her little sister. "Lily," said Margaret, "where are you?" She tried to look through every tree to see if Lily was hiding somewhere. "I can't find you," said Margaret. "Did you wander off somewhere again?" She looked everywhere, but Lily was nowhere to be found. It all started when she arrived at the park with her parents for Lily's 10th birthday party. 7 of Lily's friends showed up and brought in presents. Her mother even made a birthday cake for her to have later. Lily decided to play a party game, which was a basic game of hide and seek. Margaret was chosen to find the players. Margaret knew the simple rules. Once all the players are found, she wins the game. After Margaret counted to 10, one by one, her friends were found. But Lily hasn't been found yet. However, one of her friends said that she was heading to the woods for a harder place to find. She went into the woods to look for her. Now she is lost, and Lily can't be seen from anywhere. The further she got into the woods, the more it got foggy. She felt that soon she might lose her way back. There wasn't any cell service available in this part of the woods. She doesn't even know where she is. She does have a compass that she could use to navigate her way into the woods. She passes a few trees as she continues her walk. About 10 minutes later, she came across an opening. She walked through it, hoping that she might find her way back to the park. But to her surprise, she found out that she wasn't back in the park. She found herself in another park that had been completely abandoned for years. She noticed a playground that was rusty and mostly destroyed. A pool without water with a diving board that toppled to the floor and a swing that is still hung from the tree but is covered in vines. "That's not the park we drove to," Margaret said. "I think I should go back to the woods." The moment she turned away, she could hear the sound of someone screaming in the distance. She quickly ran to see where it was coming from. She stopped near a flagpole to see a woman lying on the ground. She wore a red hoodie with jeans and red sneakers. She couldn't move, speak, or breathe because she had been attacked by something. Her skin was pale, and her eyes were just blank. Margaret looked puzzled and confused at the same time to see this happen to her. She walked away to continue her search for her sister. She tried to look all around this abandoned park to see where she might be hiding, but she still can't find her. That's when someone approached her. He tapped Margaret on the shoulder. She stopped looking and turned around to see who it was. It was someone who had black hair and green eyes and is wearing a long-sleeve rock band t-shirt, a green camouflage jacket, jeans, and black and blue sneakers. "Hello," said Margaret. "I'm looking for my sister, Lily. It's her birthday, and she turned 10 years old." "I lost someone there too," said Bruce. "My friend and I were taking a stroll through the woods when I turned to take a shortcut to see if he could find his way back to the parking lot. But then I ended up here. By the way, I'm Bruce. And you?" "I'm Margaret," she said. "I ended up there as well." "We might be lost here for a while," said Bruce, "but we can still find your sister." "That's great," said Margaret. "But are you the only one here?" 3 more people came out of the woods and approached the two. "Nope," said Sherry. "There are 3 more of us who got into this mess." "I don't even know what the name of this park is," said Blake. "It's not even on the map or any website." "No photos even showed up," said Wade. I tried, but the camera app on my phone glitched and closed out on its own. These are my other friends who came in, said Bruce. Their names are Wade, Blake, and Sherry. Blake has brown hair and blue eyes. He wears a blue and black hoodie, jeans, and red and white sneakers. Sherry has black hair with her bangs dyed purple and brown eyes. She wears a red vest, a black shirt with white and black checkered sleeves, jeans, and black and white sneakers. Wade has silver hair and light gray eyes. He wears a white shirt, a black flannel jacket, black jeans, and brown and white sneakers. It's nice to meet you three, said Margaret. She's Margaret, said Bruce. She is looking for her sister. Well, somehow me and my boyfriend Blake went to set up our camping stuff for our date night, but then we ended up here, said Wade. I was just heading to the cemetery with my band, said Sherry, but somehow one of my fellow bandmates took a shortcut here. I think I might have lost them. It's odd to see that we end up in this kind of place, said Bruce. The only question is, how do we get out? How did you lose your sister? Sherry asked. It all started with a game of hide-and-seek that Lily and her friends were playing, said Margaret. I was the seeker in this game, and her friends were found by me. The only one left was Lily. I tried to look, but she is hard to find. Well, maybe we could help you out, said Wade. But there's a catch. We've been hearing those growling noises around this park, and I am not sure what is going on here. It's true, said Bruce. It's like you went inside a gas station store and somehow you discovered a fish tank full of fish and sharks. Not the usual things you see in this world, said Blake. Margaret started to hear the growl coming from the distance. Like that? Said Margaret. Sherry said, Yes, I keep hearing this like 5 times, and I have no idea if it is either from an animal or some type of creature. I don't think that's likely, said Wade. Maybe a speaker is somewhere, and it's playing a growling sound from one of those sound effects they use for something. That too, said Margaret. Blake noticed something when he was looking over his shoulder. It was someone who was wearing a white suit, a blue tie, a black buttoned shirt, black khakis, a brown belt, and black shoes. It was wearing a face mask with a smiley tooth print for a mouth and 2 camera lenses for eyes. It also had a snapback cap on its head. It also had long, dark hair sticking out of the hat. Blake was frozen in shock as it dragged someone from the abandoned swimming pool. Blake, said Margaret, are you okay? He looked back at Margaret. I think something is carrying a person, said Blake. Wade looked at the creature, which was now heading for the basketball court. What is that? Said Wade. I have no idea what it is, Blake said. I've seen this thing before, said Sherry. I saw it when I entered the park. I think we should all leave and just look for Lily, said Blake. She might get worried about Margaret. Maybe we should look for our park ranger to help us, said Margaret. There isn't one, said Bruce. The park is completely deserted. Maybe we should leave. Just as they were about to run back to the woods, the creature that Blake saw stopped them dead in their tracks. The PA systems that were installed on the basketball field began to turn on. They could hear some audience cheers coming from the speakers themselves. Then a voice came that sounded like some game show host from the 1950s.
Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we have 5 new contestants for the next game,
said Crimson.
Your host, Crimson, would like to welcome Blake, Wade, Margaret, Sherry, and Bruce.
The voice came from the PA system. As it turns out, the creature can communicate through the speakers as if he had a wireless microphone connected. Crimson? Said Sherry. Apparently, this is why it has been shut down, said Bruce. Many people who have gone to the park go missing for years, and I think they are being forced by Crimson to play a game.
The game is simple,
said Crimson.
The 5 of you must quickly hide anywhere around the park and try to stay hidden until the moon rises. If you make it, you might win the game. But if some of my deadly playthings find you, I'm sure you get the idea of what might just happen. Although we must make this the best one it could possibly be, I will keep you updated on the latest game. Are you ready?
The audience cheering effect was back on the PA system, but it was louder than before, as if the crowd was extremely excited.
You have a 10-second head start to find somewhere,
said Crimson.
So start running.
What does he mean by that? Said Sherry. I think he wants us to play hide and seek, said Margaret. Behind Crimson, they could see the creatures materialize in thin air. We should go right now before they can get to us easily, said Wade. They quickly ran away from Crimson to find somewhere to hide. Margaret, Bruce, and Sherry found a nearby rec hall and went inside. Inside the rec hall, a few lights turned on by themselves. How could the power company forget to shut off power in this place? Said Sherry. They looked around to see a table that was broken in half by a column, unbroken tables with items being placed on some of them, and a clock that fell to the floor and was smashed into pieces. Outside, it was painted brown with a red roof. We should lay low in this place until the game is over, said Bruce. That way, we might have a better chance of survival. I don't know, but this is not a guarantee that they might not find us here. I'm possibly going to call the cops about this one, said Sherry, and tell them that there is a game show host who is forcing us to play something, said Margaret. They won't believe us by the time they get here. Besides, there is no cell service anywhere in this park. It's going to be a while before we get out of here. Meanwhile, Blake and Wade went to hide behind the concession stand that had been covered in spray paint. Are you sure? Said Wade, because I think that someone might be in there. It's abandoned, said Wade. Nobody had operated this thing for years since this park was shut down, but we aren't quite sure yet. We might need to hide somewhere if these things find us. Crimson then spoke through the PA system again.
Looks like this is a good start for these 5,
said Crimson.
And the creatures are out on a prowl to see if they can find them all. Who will win? These humans or my creatures? We are about to find out for ourselves.
The crowd cheers and gets excited as Blake and Wade keep an eye out for any creature that may find them. Blake placed his backpack on the ground and took out his favorite book to read. I don't think our date is going as planned, said Wade. Maybe next date we could head to the drive-in movie theater. Back at the rec hall, Bruce took off his backpack and opened it to find some things he could use. Do you have any water bottles inside your bag? Sherry asked. Yes, said Bruce. I am planning on camping soon, so I came prepared. I don't know, said Margaret. There might not be enough for us. Bruce said, Don't worry. I packed plenty of those for all of you. I also packed some granola bars for everybody, said Sherry. Good call, said Bruce. Thanks, said Sherry. It's the least I could do to help. Margaret looked out the window to see another creature. It had green, scaly skin, red eyes, and no mouth or nose. It also had sharp, yellow blades in place of hands, and dark green spikes on its shoulders. It was searching for them. Margaret didn't make any noise since she didn't want to get its attention. Bruce saw the creature too. Sherry didn't notice the creature as she stared out into the ceiling. Margaret and Bruce both saw the creature run off somewhere, possibly looking elsewhere. Margaret sighed in relief as she quickly got up and sat down on the table. They suddenly heard a window break down as Sherry looked from the left to where Margaret was sitting at the table. She saw that the creature was now inside the rec hall, so they ran off looking to hide elsewhere when Sherry felt a sting on her arm. The creature scratched her right arm with its bladed arm as it left a cut on her. Bruce saw this and ran to her as quickly as possible. He grabbed Sherry and ran off, holding her hand. The creature chased after them and saw them enter another room. Inside is a pool table with more tables, green wallpaper, an orange rug covering all of the floors, and a chandelier hanging from the roof that still illuminates the room. It tried to enter, but Bruce slammed the door, causing the creature to hit its head on the door. The PA system then started up again as Crimson spoke.
The three are safe for now,
said Crimson.
but the creature seems to be having some difficulty trying to get to them.
The creature ran off as the crowd booing sound effect blared on the speakers.
Don't worry, said Crimson. The creature would have to save these victims for later and go for the other ones.
The crowd cheered as the creature was about to go to Plan B. Bruce took out his first aid kit and opened it. He took out some bandages and wrapped them around Sherry's arm where the cut is, but not before disinfecting it with some soap and water from one of the water bottles he packed. You should be okay now, said Bruce. Thanks, Bruce, said Sherry. No problem, said Bruce. I guess since there are no windows in here, we should be able to lay low in this place until the game is over, said Margaret. I don't know, said Sherry. Isn't it obvious that some creature would sense us in this place? I mean, this is an abandoned park, after all. And for the record, I'd say by the time we stay here for too long, all of us could be dead. And who knows when that might happen? We just don't know it yet. You may have a point, said Bruce. What do you expect? Said Margaret. It's a game of hide and seek, except it's like evil. Sherry walked over to the table to sit down for a bit. She also took out her headphones to listen to some music she downloaded on her phone. Wade and Blake were still hiding behind the concession stand as another creature was looking for them. This one wore a red sweater with black jeans and white sneakers. It also had a camera for a head and black gloves on its hands. Are we going to make it once we leave this stand? Said Blake. We are looking for somewhere else to hide, said Wade. We can't just stay there forever. Wade pointed to a map. It showed them where the rec hall was. Look, said Wade. This place is only a few blocks away. We might meet up with the rest of our new friends here. Great idea, said Blake. Wade and Blake got up from the ground and started their walk. They stopped to see the creature that was looking for them. The PA system started up again.
Uh-oh,
said Crimson.
It looks like Wade and Blake are in a pickle. I wonder how they are going to get out of there.
Wade found a sledgehammer on the ground and picked it up. Dude, think before you act, said Blake. We should get out of here. Not in this situation, we are not, said Wade. The creature reached into his pocket from the right side of his jeans and pulled out a button. It pressed the button as it flashed a white light at one of them. Wade was okay, but Blake was stunned as he fell to the ground. Wade took one look at his face to see that his eyes had turned blank with no pupils. His skin had also turned pale. Wade just learned that his boyfriend died from the flash of the camera the creature had made by pressing the button. Once the victim experienced the flash, it fried his brain, and he instantly died. Wade ran away from the creature as he dropped the hammer. I was only kidding, dude, said Wade. Crimson said,
Excellent photo for one of them. Blake is out of the game. Now we have 4 left to go.
Meanwhile, back at the rec hall, Bruce, Sherry, and Margaret were just sitting there bored when Wade ran into the room. Wade said, Blake is dead. I know, I've heard it from the PA system earlier, said Sherry. You're not the only one who knows about this. I don't know how long the game will last for, said Bruce. I don't know how long the game will last for. As much as I played hide and seek when I was a kid, this game is much deadlier than expected, said Wade. When I get out of this park, said Sherry, I'm just going to drive myself home. Now listen, said Wade. We might use this as a way of hiding, but what if we are the Seekers? Bruce looked at Wade for a moment. What do you mean by that? He asked. If we could find some things that will defend ourselves from the creatures Crimson creates, then we should be able to win the game, Wade said. Isn't that cheating? Asked Bruce. No, we should be able to buy them some time. said Wade. "But that will not guarantee us that all of us can survive." "You do have some great ideas on tap for us," said Bruce. "But that would mean buying us some time to get away. We will have until tonight to beat the odds." The four searched anywhere in the rec hall to find some things to use, like bear traps, ropes, even firecrackers. They went outside of the rec hall to set up traps everywhere in the park. Sherry placed the bear traps on the trail that leads to the concession stand. Wade and Margaret placed firecrackers in their backpacks to distract the creatures. Bruce looked everywhere for the trees to set up traps with a rope. It has now been a few hours, and there is only 1 hour until the game is over. Bruce and Margaret looked outside to see if there were any creatures coming. Wade and Sherry stayed inside and looked out the window. Then, the door to the rec hall opened. To Wade's surprise, no one was coming in. "Maybe it's just the wind," said Bruce. "I will go outside and cover for you two," said Wade. "Good call," said Bruce. As Wade got out of the hall, a creature materialized in front of them. It was the creature that scratched Sherry's arm earlier.
"Sorry, you four,"
said Crimson.
"but setting up those traps is against the rules during the game, so you will have to find some other way to stop them."
The creature stabbed Wade right through the chest with his bladed hand and threw him in the air. Sherry, Bruce, and Margaret were shocked to see this happen. Sherry screamed in terror as she witnessed Wade's death in a brutal way.
"Wade has been eliminated for attempting to set up the traps for all of us, which is against the rules,"
said Crimson.
2 players gone, 3 are left. Who will win? We are in for a treat this evening.
The crowd cheers are blaring on the PA system right now. 2 more creatures materialized out of thin air. One of them was a clone of Bruce. It had soulless black eyes and black gloves with knives for fingers. Another one is a shadowy figure with a scythe. It looked like a Grim Reaper as Margaret looked down at the ground. The cheering crowd intensifies on the speakers. "He knows," said Sherry. "Really? How?" said Margaret. "I think we all know what is going on," said Sherry. "Crimson is using these cameras so that he can watch our actions. I think we might all be dead if we cheat. And those creatures, he created them based on our past. When I was a child, I was scratched by a praying mantis. I had nightmares about the Grim Reaper," said Margaret. "That was a few years ago." "I've written a book about an evil clone that was created in a lab," said Bruce. "So it's no wonder why this park brought us here," said Margaret. They ran off to escape the creatures. They took a path that led them back to where they first met. They looked everywhere for Crimson, but he wasn't here until there was a wire that was connected somewhere. They followed it to a path where it had continued. Sherry looked puzzled to see where this was coming from. After a few minutes of following it, they could spot a cabin nearby. "This must be where Crimson lives," said Margaret. "I don't know," said Bruce. "He might not be home right now." "That's where the source is," said Sherry. "He might just broadcast anywhere." They walked a few miles to get to the cabin. They noticed the creatures from behind, but they paid them no mind. When they got to the cabin, Sherry opened the door and went inside. Bruce and Margaret also went inside. In here, they could spot Crimson sitting on a desk with a few TV monitors and a mug. There is also a couch and a clock that sit near a fireplace.
"You came to see me?"
Crimson asked. "Yes," said Margaret. "Is there a reason you want us here? And where is my sister?"
"She is your prize,"
said Crimson.
"We caught her alone in the woods a few hours ago. You didn't think we wouldn't have her, would we?"
"We didn't ask to play hide and seek," said Bruce.
"Of course nobody asked,"
said Crimson.
"We invited you to play."
Margaret noticed a lantern that shone inside a cage. Lily was also inside of it. She saw Margaret, who was looking for her. "You came to save me," Lily said. Margaret smiled as she sobbed. "I was getting so worried about you," said Margaret. "One of your friends told me you were in the woods, and they might be so worried about you. Let's go home."
"There is a catch, however,"
said Crimson.
"You only have a few minutes left until you 3 win. But if you manage to leave now, we could be on your tail.
That's a risk I'm going to take, said Margaret. If you want to chase us, said Bruce, so be it. Margaret stole the key from Crimson's desk and unlocked the cage door. Lily stepped out of the cage the moment she got out.
You haven't even won the game yet,
said Crimson. You don't understand, said Margaret. Just let her go, said Sherry. We need to get out of this park. Besides, when did you get into this abandoned park in the first place?
I always looked for new contestants to play hide and seek,
said Crimson.
Back in 1993, when this park shut down because of the many disappearances that occurred, I had to look for any kind of opportunity to bring it back to life. And I chose a game show that is perfect for an audience of many people. After all, I am looking for an audience who will watch my show.
That's disturbing, Bruce said.
When a player dies,
said Crimson,
they become a member of the audience. I can't be alone.
Well, forget the audience opportunity, said Margaret. I need to get back to the woods. Bruce, Margaret, and Sherry started running out of the cabin and into the woods away from the park. However, Sherry encountered the same creature from earlier and got stabbed in the chest. She fell to the ground as she bled to death. Bruce, Margaret, and Lily ran through the trees to get away from the creatures that were now chasing them. Crimson was also following them.
You won't get away that easily,
said Crimson. Passing by many trees and through the fog, Margaret managed to escape the forest. They were now in the park where the birthday party was. We're back, said Lily. Of course we are, said Bruce, but we are going to miss Wade, Blake, and Sherry. They looked behind them to see that Crimson and the other creatures had vanished into thin air. It turns out that Crimson wasn't allowed to go anywhere beyond the abandoned park. Margaret and Lily walked back to the picnic area where their parents were waiting. Bruce followed them. On their car ride home, Margaret wanted to explain to her parents what happened. Her memories of the abandoned park that she had been through haunted her for the rest of her life. In the days that followed, she had to see a therapist to explain the events that happened at the abandoned park. Lily tried to explain to her parents what happened, but they didn't believe her. When the police came to the abandoned park, they could not find any sign of Sherry, Wade, or Blake anywhere. There were plans to tear down the park so the disappearances could stop. As the officers were about to leave the park, they heard the PA system turn on. Crimson spoke into the speakers as the officers were confused and puzzled to see what was going on.
My,
said Crimson.
What do we have here? A bunch of police officers? Perfect. All of you are our next contestants in our game of hide and seek. We are sure to have a fun time now, do we?
Crimson sits at his desk, plotting to do it all over again.